Wolfgang Dressler is a prominent Austrian professor of linguistics at the University of Vienna, renowned for his extensive contributions across various fields of linguistics. He is particularly known as an important representative of the naturalness theory. His scholarly work encompasses phonology, morphology, text linguistics, clinical linguistics, and child language development. Dressler has authored over 400 publications and has been a profound critic of generative grammar, instead developing a polycentristic theory and, with others, natural morphology, which considers the natural operations on universal, typological, and language-specific levels. He has also explored morphopragmatics, investigating the pragmatic uses of morphological elements, and developed models for language development, including pre- and proto-morphology. Wolfgang Dressler, a towering figure in contemporary linguistics, was born on December 22, 1939, in the vibrant cultural hub of Vienna, Austria. His intellectual journey into the complexities of human language began to manifest through significant early scholarly contributions. One of his foundational works, Studien zur verbalen Pluralität, Iterativum, Distributivum, Durativum, Intensivum in der allgemeinen Grammatik, im Latenisken und Hethaitisken, published in 1968, showcased his rigorous academic approach and his early interest in comparative grammar and linguistic typology. This extensive study, exploring various aspects of verbal plurality across general grammar, Latin, and Hittite, demonstrated his capacity for detailed empirical analysis and theoretical generalization from the outset of his career. It underscored his early engagement with the nuances of how languages express repetitive, distributive, durative, and intensive actions, laying groundwork for later explorations into the naturalness of linguistic processes. A pivotal contribution that helped define a new subdiscipline was Einführung in die Textlinguistik Introduction to Text Linguistics, first published in 1972. This seminal work played a crucial role in establishing text linguistics as a distinct and legitimate field of study, moving beyond the traditional focus on sentences to analyze language in its broader communicative contexts. Dressler's insights in this book provided a framework for understanding how sequences of sentences cohere to form meaningful texts, exploring concepts such as textual coherence, cohesion, and communicative function. The success and impact of this work led to its widespread adoption and subsequent translations, notably his highly influential collaboration with Robert de Beaugrand, Introduction to Text Linguistics, published in 1981, which became a standard reference in English-speaking academia. Further solidifying his early commitment to this emerging field, Dressler also co-authored Text Linguistik, Kommentiert Bibliography in 1973. This annotated bibliography served as an invaluable resource for scholars entering or working within the nascent field of text linguistics, providing a comprehensive overview of existing research and guiding future investigations. These initial works set the stage for Dressler's lifelong dedication to exploring the intricate systems of language, laying the groundwork for his later, highly influential theories in natural phonology, natural morphology, and morphopragmatics, all underpinned by a semiotically informed perspective. A major trajectory of his work from the 1970s onwards focused on phonology and morphonology. He adopted and refined David Stamp and Patricia Donegan's natural phonology, integrating his own semiotic considerations to provide a more robust meta-theoretical framework. Within this, he became particularly known for his work on fast and casual speech rules, later developing a refined model of competing phonological processes. Crucially, Dressler argued vehemently for morphonology as a subtype of morphology, challenging the generative phonology's view of it as a purely phonological phenomenon. His monograph, Morphonology 1985, was a key text in this argument, demonstrating how morphological operations govern aspects often mistakenly attributed solely to phonology. He also explored the interface between phonology and other linguistic levels, comparing historical evidence with his phonological theories and making conclusions about the boundaries of phonological theory towards other areas of linguistics. Tendensen in Contaminatoriske Verleistungen und ihr Beziehung zur Sprachgeschichte 1976, an article exploring tendencies in contaminatory speech errors and their relation to language history, showcasing his early interest in psycholinguistics and historical change. Grundfragen der Morphonologie 1977, this work delves into fundamental questions of morphonology, building on his earlier research in the field. Études phonologiques sur le Breton Sud Bigouden 1980, a phonological study of South Bigouden Breton, reflecting his interest in lesser-studied languages and language documentation, particularly in the context of language endangerment. This focus on naturalness seamlessly extended into his groundbreaking work on morphology, where he, alongside Wolfgang Wurzel and Oswald Panagel, established the influential theory of natural morphology. This framework, developed significantly from the late 1970s through the 1980s and beyond, posits that morphological operations are more or less natural based on universal, typological, and language-specific principles. Dressler developed a model of morphological operations that mapped out a gradual scale between derivational and inflectional processes, offering explanations for phenomena such as why derivational rules typically apply before inflectional rules, and why certain unprototypical derivations and inflections might mix in complex word forms, e.g., German Kind Erchen, Child pl dim, where derivation follows inflection. In clinical linguistics, he researched morphonological disturbances in aphasia, contributing to the understanding of language impairments through studies conducted particularly in the 1980s and 1990s. Introduction to Text Linguistics with Robert de Beaugrand 1981, a highly influential textbook that became a standard reference in the field, further solidifying his role in establishing text linguistics. Morphonology, The Dynamics of Derivation 1985, a key monograph that further elaborated his theory of morphonology, arguing for its status as a subdiscipline of morphology. Leitmotifs in Natural Morphology with Wolfgang Meyer-Thaler, Oswald Panagel, and Wolfgang U. Wurzel 1988, a foundational text that articulated the core principles of natural morphology. Contemporary Morphology edited with H. C. Luskutsky, O. E. Pfeiffer, and J. R. Renison 1990, a significant edited volume reflecting the state of morphological research at the time. The Cognitive Perspective of Naturalist Linguistic Models 1990, an article exploring the cognitive underpinnings of his naturalist linguistic theories. Morphopragmatics, Diminutives and Intensifiers in Italian, German, and Other Languages with Lavinia Merlini Barbaresi 1994, a landmark publication that extensively developed the field of morphopragmatics. Advances in Morphology edited with Martin Prinzern and John R. Renison 1997, another important edited collection showcasing developments in morphology. Studies in Pre- and Proto-Morphology 1997, a work focusing on the earliest stages of morphological development in children. Morphological Analysis in Comparison edited with Oscar E. Pfeiffer, Marcus A. Pocatrager, and John R. Renison 2000, a comparative approach to morphological analysis. Beyond theoretical morphology, Dressler delved into morphopragmatics, investigating the pragmatic functions of morphological elements. His work in this area, often in collaboration with Lavinia Merlini Barbaresi, began notably in the late 1980s and continued into the 1990s and 2000s, examining how elements like diminutives and intensifiers convey meanings beyond their literal denotations, exploring their use in Italian, German, and other languages. This research highlighted how certain morphological patterns can generate autonomous pragmatic meanings, independent of their semantic content, influencing the entire speech act or limiting their scope to the base word. Pre- and protomorphology, early phases of morphological development in nouns and verbs with M.D. Voikova 2002, further research into early child language acquisition. Development of verb inflection in first language acquisition, a cross-linguistic perspective with Dagmar Bittner and Marianne Kilanishok 2003, a comparative study on the acquisition of verb inflection. Morphologie naturelle et flexion du verbe français with Marianne Kilanishok 2005, a specific application of natural morphology to French verb inflection. The acquisition of diminutives, a cross-linguistic perspective edited with Inta Savikin 2007, a comprehensive volume on how children acquire diminutives in various languages. Poetisk Lizenzen edited with Oswald Panagal 2007, explores creative linguistic manipulations in poetic contexts. Variation and Change in Morphology edited with Franz Rainer, D. Kastovsky, and H. C. Luskutsky 2010, a collection of papers on morphological variation and change. Nominal Compound Acquisition edited with F. Nihan Ketres and Marianne Kilanishok 2017, focuses on how children acquire nominal compounds. Digitale Methoden der Korpusforschung in Österreich with Claudia Resch 2017, reflects his engagement with digital humanities and corpus linguistics. Wolfgang U. Dressler, alongside Veronika Matz, Sabina Sommer-Lolii, and Katharina Korecki-Kroll, edited The Acquisition of Derivational Morphology, a cross-linguistic perspective in 2021. This recent volume delves into the fascinating process by which children learn to form new words through derivational morphology, the system of affixes like prefixes and suffixes that change a word's meaning or grammatical category, e.g. happy to happiness or read to reader. The cross-linguistic perspective is crucial, as it brings together research from diverse languages, allowing for the identification of universal patterns in acquisition alongside language-specific differences, contributing significantly to both developmental linguistics and theoretical morphology. In 2022, Dressler continued his long-standing collaboration with Lavinia Merlini Barbaresi with their contribution, Morphopragmatics Handbook of Pragmatics, Manual. This piece serves as an updated and comprehensive overview of the field of morphopragmatics, which explores how morphological elements convey pragmatic meanings, that is, meanings related to context, speaker intention, and social interaction, beyond their literal semantic content. For instance, the use of diminutives can convey affection or irony, not just smallness. Being part of a broader handbook of pragmatics underscores its significance as a definitive and current reference for scholars interested in the intricate interplay between word structure and communicative function. Demonstrating his ongoing and evolving research interests, Dressler co-authored Human and Machine Translation of Occasionalisms in Literary Texts, Johann Nestroy's Der Talisman and its English translations with Elisa Mattiello in 2023. This work highlights his engagement with contemporary issues in translation studies, specifically focusing on the challenges of rendering occasionalisms, neologisms or newly coined words unique to a particular text or context, from one language to another. By analyzing Johann Nestroy's Der Talisman and its English translations, the research critically examines how both human translators and machine translation tools grapple with the creativity and cultural nuances embedded in such linguistic innovations, offering insights into the limits and possibilities of both translation approaches. Natural phonology as part of natural linguistics. Wolfgang U. Dressler. In the history of phonology, no model of phonology, e.g. Trubetskoy's model or optimality theory, has stayed for any considerable time alone on its own, i.e. without parallel models of syntax and morphology. Thus, Stampian natural phonology has been complemented in Europe by natural morphology, natural syntax, and natural text linguistics. In this way, natural phonology can be integrated into an overall model of natural linguistics. This model has been further unified by giving it the status of a preference theory and by providing functionalist epistemology and a semiotic meta-theory for all of its parts, including natural phonology. This unity of natural linguistics is demonstrated with the universal preference parameters of figure versus ground sharpening, binarity, iconicity, indexicality, and the naturalness scale by uniqueness ambiguity. The final argumentation focuses on the weak claim of universality of preferences against the strong claim of innate phonological processes by understanding universal preferences including phonological processes as plausible constructivist software strategies which are construct in language acquisition for overcoming universal innate hardware problems. References: Zienkowski, Jan, Ostman, Janola, Verschweren, JEF June 15, 2011. Discursive Pragmatics. John Benjamin's Publishing Company. p. 286. ISBN 9789027207852. Retrieved May 7, 2012. Department of Linguistics. Dressler speaks at least, in addition to Austrian German, English, French, Italian, Polish. Retrieved January 20, 2018. Academy of Europe. Retrieved January 20, 2018. Dressler, Wolfgang U. Luskutsky, Hans C. Pfeiffer, Oscar E. Renison, John R. June 3, 2011. Contemporary Morphology. Walter de Gruyter. ISBN 978-3-11-0874008-2. Dressler, Wolfgang U. November 21, 2014. Current Trends in Text Linguistics. Walter de Gruyter GmbH & Co. KG. ISBN 978-3-11-085375-9. Department of Linguistics. Retrieved January 20, 2018. Dressler, Wolfgang U. Ketres, F. Nihon, Kilanishok, Marianne December 15, 2017. Nominal Compound Acquisition. John Benjamin's Publishing Company. ISBN 978-90-272-6497-8. Variation and Change in Morphology edited with Franz Rainer, D. Kastovsky, and H. C. Luskutsky 2010, a collection of papers on morphological variation and change. Nominal Compound Acquisition edited with F. Nihon Ketres and Marianne Kilanishok 2017, focuses on how children acquire nominal compounds. Digitale Methoden der Korpusforschung in Österreich with Claudia Resch 2017, reflects his engagement with digital humanities and corpus linguistics. Wolfgang U. Dress.